So we have this function f of x equals to 10 radical x plus 5 on the closed interval 4, 5. Find the average or mean slope of the function on this interval. So first off, remember when we have an interval, these are x1 and x2 values. So our x1 is 4 and our x2 is equal to 5. From here, we need to find what is f of x1 and what is f of x2. So instead of actually f of x1, actually let me write this out. So we want to find f of x1 and f of x2, and we know that x1 is 4, so we basically want to find what is f of 4. So if I replace the x here with 4, then that's going to give me 10 radical 4 plus 5. Now, radical 4 is 2, so this is going to give me 10 times 2 plus 5, which is 25. Our x2 is 5, so we want to find out what is f of 5, and that is going to be 10 radical 5 plus 5. Instead of converting this into a decimal, I'm just going to leave this as 10 radical 5 plus 5, but because it's two terms, I'm going to put this in a parentheses. Then I need to find out the average or mean slope. So my slope is going to be f of x2, which is given by parentheses 10 radical 5 plus 5, minus f of x1, which is 25, divided by x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus 4. Now we know that 5 minus 4 is equal to 1, so all I'm doing is simplifying the numerator. We have 10 radical 5, and then we have 5 minus 25, which is a negative 20. And if you put this into a calculator, put 10 radical 5 minus 20, this is going to give you 2.360679. However, I think my Open Math wants us to round to 4 decimals, so this is going to be 2.3607. Wow. Sorry about my pen. You know what? This is the best I want to do. So 2.3607. This is going to be the answer for part A. Okay, it's an ugly looking 2, but you guys get the point. Part B, it says by the mean value theorem, we know there exists a C in the interval 4, 5. So that f prime of c is equal to the slope. So we got to find out what is f prime of c, but before we can do that, we need to find out f prime of x. So f of x is equal to 10 radical x, but remember before we differentiate, we need to write the radical x with a rational exponent. So instead of 10 radical x, I'm going to write 10x to the 1/2 power, and then I have the plus 5. And then from here, I need to figure out what is my f prime of x. So for that, the 1/2 comes down. I have 10 times 1/2, and I subtract 1 from this, which is the same thing as 2 over 2, and I get x to the negative 1/2 power. Hopefully this is all review. And then the derivative of 5 is 0 because it is a constant, so we're going to ignore that. So what I have here is the 1/2 comes down, so I have 10 times 1/2, and then I have x to the negative 1/2. Oh my God. You know, I'm sorry for all the erasing, you guys. Thank you for being patient. Okay. From here, and I'm still not happy because that negative sign is... Okay, there we go. So if I multiply 10 times 1/2, that's going to give me 5. And remember that if you have x to the negative 1/2, it goes to the denominator, becomes x to the positive 1/2. But then you have to rewrite this as a radical. So x to the 1/2 is just going to be square root of x. And again, hopefully this is all going to be reviewed for you. So f prime of x is equal to 5 over radical x. But we're looking for c, so we're going to write this in terms of c. So f prime of c is going to equal to 5 radical c. Now, the mean value theorem says that f prime of c is going to equal to the slope we calculated, which is All right, so now notice our variable is on the denominator and we want it to be on the numerator. So there's a little trick, and I think I showed you guys this in a previous section, but this little trick is you can just swap these two. We want the radical c to be on the numerator, and we want that 2.3607 to be on the denominator. So what you're essentially doing is you're multiplying both sides by radical c, and then you're dividing by 2.3607, but you can do it all in one step as a shortcut, and so we swap those. So what we're going to get is 5 divided by 2.3607 is equal to radical c. Okay, from here, we need to put this into a calculator, and I'm going to put 5 divided by 2.3607. And in any kind of a middle step, you have to make sure that you keep at least 6 or 7 decimals. So I'm going to put this equal to 2.118015843. And the more decimals, the better. But we don't want to solve for radical c, we want to solve for c. So what we're going to do is we're going to square both sides. So I square the right side to get rid of the square root, and I square the left side because I squared the right side. So if I square both sides, then I'm going to end up with c, which is what I'm looking for, equals to 4.48599. And then, if I round to 4 decimals, which is what my Open Math wants me to do, it's going to be 4.4860 because the number after the 4 decimal is a 5 or higher. So that 9 is going to round to 0, and then that 5 is going to go to 6 because 59 is going to round to 60. So we have 4.4860 as our answer. That's it.